Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome back to another episode of Kingsley TV's live stream. My name is Aaron Kingsley Brown. I post videos about my track and field experience. My life as a professional track and field sprinter. So if you vibe with that, hit that subscribe button. Tune in every week. We're doing more lives. We're coming with it, talking all things track and field. And today, we're going to be talking about Athlos. As you guys know, the 2025 track and field season, it's not over yet. You know, we got the long jump going on today, and then we got the track events tomorrow. So let's preview it. As you know, it's only for women, so people like me won't be able to compete, but we can still cover it. We can still support it, and I think that's important. We have a lot of division in our sport. You know, a lot of people are down on Grand Slam track, for example. Even Athlos, they're going back and forth talking about why they're better. It's like, why? Let's all work together. Let's just uplift the sport as a whole. That's my point of view. I just want us all to win, you know? And right now, if the women are the ones that are getting center stage, they're the ones that get the attention, so be it. As long as somebody's winning in the sport, then we can worry about inclusion. But we'll get to that later. Before we get into it, please go ahead, like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm coming with more videos. You're going to want to tune in. So hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get into it. All right, let me get my ticker going. Boom. Athlos. So let's start with this. Races to watch. Hold on. There we go. Races to watch. All right. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So first off, let's check out the website. Okay. So right off the bat, we got Tara Davis-Woodhall, Sha'carri Richardson, and Gabby Thomas. They're like the faces of this league now. Last year was just Gabby. They expanded it to include new athlete owners, which they haven't really expanded upon yet. We know that's coming in 2026. So, they just kind of previewed that. But we know Sha'carri and Tara Davis-Woodhall are now a part of the league, in addition to Gabby Thomas. So that's dope. Looking forward to seeing what that is. I know they're doing a league next year. But yeah, let's talk about today and tomorrow. So we'll start with the long jump. Hold on. There we go. Long jump. So in the long jump, we got Tara Davis-Woodhall. Of course, she's the headliner. She's the main reason why they're doing it in Times Square, why this is a big deal. They needed to get behind somebody. So when you're creating a new league, you have to have a marquee athlete that can push the event into the mainstream, someone that people care about. So they got the Olympic champion. She's got a great personality. She's got a lot of followers. Makes sense. Build the event off of her back. What I don't like is how they're trying to push this narrative that, now field events are included too. Grand Slam tracks snubbed them, and Athlos, we include field. It's like, relax. You're including one field event, which is long jump. And the only reason you're doing it is because you get Tara Davis-Woodhall as a package deal with the event. So let's not make it seem like you guys are the savior of field now. All of a sudden, there's this abundance of opportunity for field events, and they're finally getting their time in the sun. Like, no, you're doing one event, and it's because of Tara Davis-Woodhall. If she wasn't there, there would be no field events. Let's just be honest about that. Anyways, it is dope that they have that. It is dope that they're doing it in Times Square. And that's going on today. So I don't know. I'm really just tuning in for the track events. I'll see how the broadcast looks for the long jump, because I think it will be a dope backdrop. And, I want to support the event because I support track and field on the professional level. But I'll be honest, I'm not really that intrigued by this long jump event. But nonetheless, let's cover it. So we got Tara Davis going as Jasmine Moore, going as Quenisha Burks, Monet Nichols, Claire Bryant, and Jasmine Sawyers. So it looks like this should be Tara's to win. Mostly Americans. You got, I'm not sure. Let's see what Claire Bryant's from. She's American. Okay. I know Jasmine Sawyers. She's British, but she trains over here. Monet Nichols. Yeah, all these people. So mostly Americans. And then, everybody that trains here. And the other thing, too, is it's October 9th. So I don't know how seriously these athletes are going to take it. it is 60 bands on the line, and they get a Tiffany crown, which is worth a lot. So maybe they'll come with it, and the bag can push them to want to, compete to their best of their ability. But it is October 9th. People are on vacation. I've been done since Worlds, and most people have too. So I don't know what kind of event we're going to get. This is more like an exhibition, which is why I'm looking forward to next year when it's actually a league. We're doing it during the competitive season, so more likely for people to be, competitive. But hey, it is what it is. More track on the professional level, more opportunities. It's a good thing overall. So that's the long jump. Pretty sure Tara's going to take that. Now, the event that I'm most looking forward to is the 400 meters. Here's why. We got Paulino, Alexis Holmes, Amber Anning, Nasser, Henriette Yeager, and then Lena Irby Jackson. So this is actually a good field. We only have 6 ladies, so they didn't completely fill out the lanes, but I want to see Paulino versus Nasser again. I feel like they could still go fast. I know it's October 9th. I know they ran their hearts out in Tokyo already, but they got 60 bands on the line and they don't like to lose. Both of them, are former world champions. Paulino being the defending Olympic champion and defending world champion before Tokyo. And then Sydney walked up in here and ran the second fastest time of all time. I know they want to show their prowess and show that, hey, we are still about that life. And remember, back in April in the first Grand Slam in Jamaica, Sour Eid Nasser came out and ran like 48.6. Everyone thought, oh, it's April, it's early, no one's going to run fast. And she came out and ran 48.6. So they're still capable of running fast times. I know, Worlds was what, 3 weeks ago? They're still probably in shape. Knowing them, they're competitors. They want to win that 60 bands. They're going to go for it. So this could be still a compelling race. And then you got other people who are no slouches. Amber Anning is fast. She made the finals. Lena Irby has been fast. Alexis Holmes, Henriette Yeager. This is a good lineup. So I'm looking forward to this race. This is one that I'm most looking forward to. Let me know in the chat which event you guys are most looking forward to. But yeah, this is the one I have circled. Got a comment. Chadika says, hi. What's up, Chandika? Thanks for tuning in. I know it's the last minute live. I didn't really give a lot of warning, but got to get the preview in before tonight and before tomorrow. So this is going to be a quick one. We're going to run right through this, but next event, 100 meters. So we were supposed to have Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. She was in it all season long, but then after you make history, after you run just historic times all season, it makes sense why she's not doing it, but she's still going for a meet and greet because Melissa Jefferson-Wooden is about the fans. She's about that life. She's for the people, and she still wants to honor her presence for people who might have bought tickets to come see her run. But we still got my other teammate, Kayla White, who also made the team in Tokyo, ran 10.84. Got Mary Jose Talu Smith, Aegis Wonder. She is always in the mix, always a perennial finalist. She's run fast time. She's medaled in the 1 and 2. She's always around. She's always running fast. You got Zoe Hobbs, a New Zealander who I believe broke 11 for the first time this year. Joniel Smith, she looked really good on that anchor in the 4x1 at Tokyo. Jacia Sears, up and coming runner who's run 10.7 before. And then you got Brittany Brown, who must be doubling because I didn't realize she was running the 1 as well. But she's also made the team in the 100 for the US. So this is a good event. It's still a pretty good lineup. There's no sha'carri, there's no Melissa, no Gabby, but you still got some solid runners. So I'm gonna tune in for this one. It's more of a let's see who's gonna win type event. I'm obviously pulling for Kayla, but I also know that it is October 9th, like I keep saying. So I don't know what type of shape these ladies are in, what their motivation is like. 60 bands is really appealing. The Tiffany crown is really appealing. We're gonna see what they got. Who you guys think is gonna win this one? Just looking at the lineup, I don't know. I think Jacius is pretty dangerous, just based on the fact that she's young, used to long seasons coming out of college, and that might favor her. Let me see how old Joni. Doesn't say how old she is, but Joniel Smith, she did look good after that anchor leg, so I'll look out for her as well. Can never sleep on Talu. And obviously Kayla is my teammate. We're in 10-8. Brittany Brown's also good. Yeah, it's a toss-up. I don't know. It's a long way of saying I don't know who's going to win this one. What do you guys think? I'm just going to go out on a limb and go with... I'm going to go Jason Sears on home soil in the U.S. Moving right along to the 200. So Brittany Brown's doubling. Got a Navia battle. Mackenzie Long, Amy Hunt, Jessica, and Talu's doubling as well. So this is another good one. Three. Let me see if I have this right. Yeah, 3 of the 4 women that ran in Tokyo for the U.S., other than Melissa, are here. And then you got Amy Hunt, silver medalist. Talu, she was also in the mix. And I believe Jessica was there too from Ivory Coast. But yeah, this one's actually tough. I like either Amy Hunt or Brittany Brown. I'm gonna go Amy Hunt though. I think she's gassed off of that silver medal, and she's gonna carry over her form. I think Brittany Brown Amy Hunt gets it. Moving right along to we did the 4. Let's go to the mile. Stepping out of my zone a little bit, going up into the distance, but I don't know. Coming soon, you got a day. I don't know who's gonna be, but you got Faith, got Nikki Hiltz, got Sagai, and Susan. So again, pretty small field, used to a lot bigger crowds, a lot bigger fields, I should say. But hard to go against Faith. She's got the world record or world best, whatever you want to call it. Greatest 1500 meter runner of all time, world record holder, Olympic champ, multi-time world champ. I'm going with Faith. Yep, I have faith in Faith. And then did I hit all the events? 800. I didn't make a graphic for that. Hold on, let me change this real quick. Bang. Okay, 800 meters, last event. You got Keely, you got Georgia Bell, Mary Mora. So this one's event's pretty good too. And then another coming soon. I don't know. I mean, you might as well even put that up. If they're really going to announce somebody this last second, maybe they pull somebody out of their off season, pull somebody out of Turks and Caicos and say, "Yo, do you want to run for 60 bands?" Maybe they'll do it. Who knows? But I'm gonna go with Keely. You know, she was expected to win in Tokyo, got 3rd. I think she comes with a vengeance here. I think she was pissed after that and comes out here, puts on a good performance, gets that crown, gets that 60 bands. So that's my preview. But more than that, let's see if they have it advertised yet. Let's actually go through this event info. So night 1, she jumps Times Square. That's today. It's a free event, which is pretty dope. I honestly feel like all these grassroots events should worry about just getting like established first before they go on try to charge people or charge something really cheap. You know, in this economy, people are struggling. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of other things people could be doing, especially in New York City. So making it a free event is actually a good move. You want to build credibility, show that a lot of people can show up, show that there's interest. You know, stream it, get as many eyes on it as possible, get as many people in the stands. So optics, it looks good. You know, I think that's something that Grand Slam could have learned from. You know, make it more accessible, make it more affordable. Just optic wise, have a lot of people in the stands. Just so, you know, it looks like people are supporting this thing. It's good for investors, good for people watching on TV. Like, hey, what's this? A lot of people are there. Anyways, it's a free event. Kicks off 6:30 tonight, Eastern time, Times Square, like I said. So that's pretty dope. Then tomorrow night too, doors open at 5. You can get tickets. So that one they're selling, and then the lineup. So got a meet and greet with Melissa, Jefferson-Wooden, and sha'carri. Okay, I didn't know that. Then you got the teen races. So I also think that's a dope idea. I think including more inclusive races too, other than just the pros. A, you get more people that come to the event. B, more people signing up. More people caring about it. So like the people, let's say you have a teenager who's running at the meet or grade school athlete, The parents now want to stick around for the event, so that's more ticket sales, more people that care about the event, more people pulling up, spending money. I think that's a good idea. So we should include more of those. Maybe have like a teen section. I always thought, a dope idea at one of these grassroots pro meets would be to have an open section, have a race with just like the casuals who can show up and run, and then give them a lane. And like, if you have like the prelims of like the 100 meters, for example, give them a lane so they can run against the pros. I think that would be dope. It gives more appreciation for the pros because the juxtaposition of having a regular Joe versus the pros gives more appreciation for even last place in the pro section, because you can realize how fast they're actually going versus a casual Joe. And B, what is more incentive for people to want to sign up for a casual race, because they get a chance to run against pros. Maybe they'll never get a chance on their life to run against a pro athlete. This is their chance. So I think that's a dope idea. But anyways, they got the team races, opening ceremony, and then I like this idea a lot. They got a Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce tribute. Now, this is an all-women's event. This is probably one of the greatest female athletes we've ever seen. She's in the conversation. Greatest 100-meter runner of all time, arguably even men. And it's in New York. There's a lot of Caribbean fans, a lot of support there. This is good. It's good to see her go out this way. And a lot of our stars in our sport, whether it's Asafa Powell, Tyson Gay, they kind of just stop running unceremoniously. And I feel like our legends deserve a tribute, deserve a sign off, like a Johan Blake. We don't know what his future holds. Is he just going to call it quits this year and not come back next year? Like, this guy's the second fastest man of all time in 2 events. Like, he deserves a tribute. And so I think it's dope that they're doing this. I hope like an Elaine Thompson-Herah gets something similar when she hangs it up. But I'm glad that she's doing this. And, Athlos, they were on CBS with Alexis Ohanian, CEO, the head of this league, with Shelly-Ann. So they're using her as cross promotion to promote their league, which is good for both parties. Smart move, making good decisions. Oh, the 100 hurdles. How could I forget that? Hold on. Why is it not up here? Oh, I missed it. My fault. Let me. How could I forget the 100-meter hurdle? One of the best, most competitive events in all of track and field. All right. 100-meter hurdles. Back to the previews. Cy Russell, defending Olympic champion. Devin Charlton, world record holder indoors. Grace Stark, bronze medalist from Tokyo. Lace Johnson, perennial team maker. My teammate, Tania Marshall. How could I forget? And then Megan Tapper, Olympic silver medalist, I believe, or bronze medalist from Tokyo. This event is deep. I mean, this is the deepest event in track and field. It's always a crapshoot. You never know who's going to win. Kambunji won in Tokyo. Who could have predicted that? That was nuts. I knew it was going to be somebody not the favorite, so I didn't go with Masai to win. She didn't even medal, though, which is insane because she's had one of the most dominant seasons ever. She just didn't get it done when it counted the most. But she ran 12-1 twice, 12-2, like she was on a heater. But that's the event. So yeah, the tough part about this is you don't know who's in what shape. Tania, my teammate, did run 12-2 this year in Celestia. Can't sleep on her. Grace Stark has run 12-2. Masai's run 12-1. Watch someone like Megan Tapper sneak it. That's just this event, bro. Man, I don't know. I want to say Masai just because she didn't medal, and I feel like she's hungry for this. She wants to at least end on a high note. I'd love for Tania to win. That'd be my heart pick, but I'm trying to be unbiased in my takes. I'm trying to step out there more and just go with my brain, because I know that's what people tune in for, and they want to see my actual honest opinions and not just my heart takes. But I do think Tania has a shot, absolutely. But again, she hasn't run since Diamond League final, so it's a little tough. She's been on ice. Megan Tapper's coming off injury, so I don't know what her training's been like. I'm gonna go with either Masai or Grace Stark. Yeah, I'll go with Masai. I think she's running angry. I'll go with Masai. Um, yeah. All right. So let's go back to the website. Where we have event info. Oops. So then we got the 100 hurdles popping off a strong event. Long jump. Wait, are they jumping 2 days? She jumps Times Square. What the hell? 3 winners will compete for the crown. Oh, come qualifying jumps. Okay. So this is just the qualifying round. So they get their top 3. So 3 of the 6 will then move on to run in time. Okay, that's kind of dope. So they're running 2 days. I like that. But then it says heat 1, heat 2. What does that mean? And then the final. I don't know. This is a little confusing. There's only 6 ladies in the long jump. I don't know. And if I'm confused, I'm sure everybody was confused because, I cover events, but whatever. Then you got the 100, 800 long jump final, and then Sierra. So another dope thing that they do. Last year they had Meg Thee Stallion. This year they had Sierra. Incorporating mainstream talent, mainstream entertainment. It's not just a track meet. They got people actually pulling up to perform. Gives more people incentive to want to show up and buy tickets. You're not just buying tickets to watch track and field. You're watching an event. It's like a carnival. I think that's dope. And something that, both the Diamond League, Grand Slam, all of them, you don't have to burn the budget on it. Clearly, budget issues plagued Grand Slam, and they got a little overzealous when that investor pulled out. So don't want to make the same mistakes twice. But assuming you can secure the funding this time, this could be something you could look into, especially if it's in America. You want to get local Americans to care about it. How do you get people of New York City to care about this event and want to actually buy tickets and pull up? Well, get Sierra to headline, and I think that's dope. Also makes your event look more prestigious. And then look at all their partners: Sentia, Cash App, Toyota, Instacart, Shark Beauty, August, Adidas, blah 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 blah. Tiffany, a lot of people. So very nice, very nice. It's got some comments here. Satoshi, what's up, Satoshi? Can we bet on this? I believe you can. Let me see if I can pull this up. Hold on. I had some other graphics. I just have to pull it up. YouTube stream. All right. Let's see what I got in here. Do I have it? I might be on my phone still. Let me see. So this is from Twitter. Is Athlos not supposed to be earlier next season? Always after the Diamond League season, the team-based league will so I want to talk about this later, but let me come back to this. See the other images I got. There we go. I think it's this one. So someone said, love the predictor games that World Championships did. So what's in it for the fans, especially overseas fans that can't be there, but speak about it, follow it, and create beautiful conversations about track and field competition series. Yes, our league app is going to be nuts. We'll definitely include prediction game. So I think that prediction game is the betting. I'm not 100%, but I think that's the predictions. So, yeah, you should be able to bet on this, which would be dope. And I might throw a little dollar in there. don't want to gamble my kids' college tuition, but might slide a little dollar in there. I don't really like to gamble a lot, but just for the fun of it, or maybe I'll just do it without betting money. I don't even know if it's for money, but he said there's some predictor game, so we'll check that out. It's gonna be one in 13-2. You really think 13-2, bro? That slow? I mean, I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah, these women are too fast for that. Too much competition. I mean, I think they could run 13-2 just off the strength of just being incredible athletes. You know what I mean? I would say like 12-5. Yeah, 12-5. And I don't know what the conditions are either. I haven't checked New York weather. Maybe it's cold, maybe it's rainy, who knows? So that plays a factor, but I think 12-5 is pretty ideal. They're creating a league for the women next year. Then Alexis is pretending like he may add the men in 2027. You really think he will do that? I do. I mean, why would he pretend? You know, like he's already got a women only league for back-to-back years. If he really wanted to just stick with that, why would he even throw out the idea of creating a men's league too? And since we're talking about it now, you know, we're getting a little ahead, but I had a segment, Athlos versus Grand Slam. And so let me see if I can find the comment. Hold on. Image. Athlos. Okay, it's this one right here. So someone asked, will you expand in the future to include male runners too? Only a matter of time. Was a business decision because women has a bigger social presence, but we grow intentionally every year. First field events this year in Times Square and 3 meets next year for our first full season with teams. Some of the great C 10 out of 10. So that's, like I said, like so far it seems like he's pretty good at business. Obviously, he's very rich, got a lot of money, made good decisions in that department. And so far he's making good decisions with this league. And you know, the fact that he's here again, had a successful launch last year, a lot of people watched, and he's back again this year. I think he's going to do it. And I think there's good reason to do it. First, you establish with the biggest stars. Because if you think about it in America, who are the biggest names, right? You'd say Noah Lyles, okay. But then it's probably a lot of the women. Sydney, sha'carri, Melissa, Gabby, Tara Davis. I mean, just look at profiles. He's right. The women do have a bigger presence, most of all. Like Nike, for example, is heavily pushing women's sports. They're heavily invested into that. They're putting a lot more money into the women who are top competitors versus the men. Like the bar for a man to get the equivalent for a woman is I would say higher. It's harder for a man in 2025. Not to say that they're not signing men, because clearly they are, but I think they're trying to balance it out because historically they've had more men be bigger stars, and in today's climate, women are in the spotlight. So you create a women's only league. It makes sense. Just riding off of the momentum that the women have in today's society with sports. But I don't think that lasts forever. And I think you're leaving out a lot on the table, not including the men. And why I put Athlos versus Grand Slams, because like I said earlier, there's been a lot of back and forth with Grand Slam versus Athlos. And, you know, Athlos has been taking gratuitous shots at Grand Slam, like saying like, oh, we got Cash App payments right after. And, you know, it's a shot at Grand Slam saying that they're going to pay them instantly and stuff like that. But the future could be they merge together. And why not? You know, Grand Slam was successful. It's not like they weren't popping at a point during the season. They've had a league established. Maybe Athlos expands to their women's only league next year, and then they merge with Grand Slam in 2028 or 2027. Maybe that's how they do it. And Ohanian was actually on Gatton's podcast, on the Ready, Set, Go podcast, and they asked him about Grand Slam, and if they approached them to work together or whatever, would they accept it? And Ohanian didn't say no. He basically just said like the person who needs the money would be the one reaching out. So I don't know. Maybe Michael Johnson has other plans of getting funding, but this could be an avenue to explore. And it makes sense. Why not? Why compete against each other? Why not just merge together, pool your prize purses, come with a good vision? It makes sense. So yeah, I don't think he's pretending. I think it's he's methodically building it up. Now watching Athletes for Athlos for how slimely and messy Alexis was with MJ. You've seen his Gatlin pod. I didn't watch it. I just saw that clip where he mentioned that they might work together. So I got to see if he's taking more shots, and if he is, that's disappointing. Because like I said, why are we competing against each other? The main enemy, honestly, should be the status quo. World Athletics hasn't done the job of growing the sport in America, really worldwide, but it does do well in certain parts of Europe. So I will give them that. But it's been around for how long? And we're stagnating or declining in relevancy. We're not getting more fans, I don't feel like. It's just that we're appealing to the same core group of track fans and not really expanding into other markets. And they keep saying, oh, yeah, by 2028, we got a great opportunity. We got the Olympics in America, so we want to expand and be, I think they said, number 5 most popular sport in the world after, the big 4, basketball, football, hockey, and baseball. They're nowhere near that right now. Come on now, like UFC, way bigger, golf, way bigger, tennis, way bigger. Like you got even sports like pickleball being shown more on TV in America. Bowling, like darts. I've seen some darts competitions on TV. They're selling out crowds. It's popping. It looks like a party in there. It looks fun. We got to find a way to revolutionize the sport. And these 2 new leagues, Grand Slam Track and Athlos, just come together, just merge, pool their resources. They're doing a good job of coming with a different avenue, coming with way more money, which is what we also need. More opportunities for athletes to earn a living, staying stateside. But why are we competing against each other? Why are we going against each other? So if he was on there being messy and slimy, then, that's whack. From India, what's good? Why did Fred join the enhanced games? Hey, you got to ask Fred that. But based on what he said, it seems like it's for the money. And, can't really say I blame him. The bag's there. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why we need these leagues. If you're like, if you think about it, if there was a hands games basketball, how many people are joining? What reason do they have to join? They're really going to pay them more than they're already earning. They're going to pay him more than like LeBron earning more than what does he get? Like 30, 40 M's a year, plus all his endorsements and all this stuff off the track or off the court. No, it was like, why would I do that? Tarnish my image and associate with something like that. But in our sport, it makes all the sense. People are struggling. People are not making enough money. There's not enough opportunities, especially stateside. You can appeal to certain people like with a league like this, enhanced games. So I'm not going to take the take that everyone else is like, how could he do this? And point my finger at him and turn my nose up at him like, oh, he's got to be better than this, blah, blah, blah. Think about why he would do this. The current environment professionally in this sport is the reason why this is even a viable option for some athletes. And like he said, other athletes approached him. He said that made the finals in Tokyo, saying like, yo, tell me more about this league. Because they're trying to get the bag, bro. In this economy, dog, you got to look out for yourself. You got to get paid, bro. It is what it is. And so, that's not something I would do. I'm not going to shame other people who go that route. Because they're not saying, oh, I'm going to dope up and do this. This is join the league, and you don't have to do it, as far as I understand. So, that's my take on it for now. And subject to change, of course, if more info comes out. So, don't hold me to my take right now. But as far as I know right now, which is very limited info on enhanced games and what it's all about, like, I don't even know who's racing against. I don't know how many meets there are. I don't know how much he's getting paid. I don't know any of that stuff. So, my opinion could change. But based on what I heard from Fred on his reasonings or his reasoning, makes sense. Big up yourself, Aaron. Respect. Do you think meets like Athlos work being this late in the season? And hold on, let me remove this. Go back to my solo cam. All right. Do you think meets like Athlos work being this late in the season, and would a league be around the same time, or does it spread across the season like GST did? I think that being this late, it's not being taken that seriously. And even by the athletes, like, I don't know how many people are seriously training that hard for this event. And an aspect of having a successful meet is having good performances. So not to say that the performances won't be fast, but the bar is low. And a lot of people are just saying like, hey, we just want to see the stars run, compete, and make it a fun event. It's like an exhibition. You know what I mean? Like, you ever see those things where those meets in Australia where it's like Gout and Lockley Kennedy racing people, and they have like a head start. And I think I saw Icahn doing it too. Like, those are like, kind of gimmicky, right? Like, it's just about entertainment and making it like an exhibition event. And this is kind of the same thing, which is why someone like Anson doesn't support this league. at least yet. He's gonna watch, but he's like, it's kind of gimmicky because it's in October. You're not seriously getting the best out of your athletes if you don't put it during the regular calendar year, especially since Worlds ends the year now. And everyone's going to be peaked for that and going on vacation after that, you know? So yeah, I hope that they put the league across the regular season next year, especially since it's a down season. I mean, we've got the ultimate chance at the end of the year, but he did say that it ends, they're going to put Athlos after the Diamond League final so they don't conflict, but it's like, why? Like, there's plenty of calendar space where you can put it in. And if you're offering a better prize purse, and that's your whole like shtick, like you're going around saying like, hey, we're offering better prize money, the highest prize purse that a woman could make, and da da da. Like, why are you afraid of the Diamond League? You should be a disruptor. Don't be afraid. These are the people that you're trying to tell them to step up their game. Don't bow down to them and say, oh, you guys have the prime time of the season, and then we'll just fit in where we can. Like, no, like if you're coming with this new hot league, like come for it all. Tell them to step their game up. And then if you guys pull away athletes from them, people start going to Athlos and their league instead of the Diamond League, so be it. Then the Diamond League has to respond, step their game up, add more prize money, or move your calendar around so you avoid them. You know what I mean? Alexis admitted that they didn't make a profit last year, and that was only one meet with far fewer athletes in Megan. He needs to answer how the league will be organized next year. I agree. You know, because you can run nonprofit and, you know, like get as many people to show up and viewers and stuff. But the way you turn profit is, well, from my understanding, ticket sales, of course. But I think the biggest one is streaming rights and selling that to the big networks. That's how all the other big sports do it. So once it gets the eyes, you know, you can operate without making a profit in your first couple of years. That's what startups do. But then you got to prove that the model works, it's viable, and then sell ad space. You know, they got a lot of sponsors for this one. So clearly, you know, people are starting to believe the vision. And the more stars you have pulling up and, you know, people signing up like Sierra and Megan, hey, it could work. It could work. But that's where the business acumen comes into play, you know, and he's rich. He knows how to do this. So I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Is it true that certain meets, i.e. some Diamond Leagues, are still to pay the athletes months later? So why make such a... Yes, it is true. Because I'm one of those athletes. You know, I haven't been paid from Oslo yet. I don't remember when I ran that. I think that was in like June. We're in October now. Haven't got my money. But the reason why they don't get the same smoke as GST is because A, it's not public when we get paid from Diamond League meets and stuff like that. And B, it's paltry amounts. So like I'm owed, you know, like the most you can win is $10,000. And the Diamond League doesn't go around promoting like, hey, come to our Diamond League week meet so you can win $10,000. The main reason why the stars will go to a Diamond League is because of the appearance fees, which can range from, you know, 10 to 60, 80K, depending on who you are and your status, you know, in the budget of the Diamond League. So that, if that was public, that's what they would be marketing. Like, hey, we just got Sydney to come to our meet in Zurich for $80,000. That would make headlines. That's something they could be proud of. But since it's not public and it's all negotiated behind closed doors, because that gives them the advantage of remaining anonymous of how much they're paying to people, everyone just thinks you're going to Diamond League meets for pennies on the dollar, you know? So everyone thinks you're just competing for 10K, and that's not something to tout. Say the premier event in the world, the best league out there, Diamond League, we're paying our winners $10,000. Like that doesn't sound good. But when Grand Slam comes out and says we're paying $100,000, 10x what the winner of a Diamond League gets, that's something you can market. That's something you put out there. Same way with Athlos saying like 60 bands, we're bringing big money to these athletes. Something you can market. Diamond League, the prize money is not worth marketing. So a lot of people don't realize how long it takes for athletes to actually get paid. And yes, events like Diamond League are slow to pay. Continental Tour, slow to pay. World Relays, I haven't got paid from that yet either. And that's only like 2 bands for bronze. You know, we split that. Haven't got that either. That was in May. So Grand Slam unfortunately gets all the smoke because they came out guns blazing saying like, hey, we're going to be revolutionized with this league. We're going to pay the athletes quick. We're going to pay them a lot more. And they didn't live up to what they initially promised. So they get a little backlash for that. And I think it's a little unwarranted because that's just the status quo. And yes, they said they're going to be better and they haven't been so far. But I did get my 50% from Grand Slam. I can confirm that they actually paid that out. When they put out that same press release, I got it that same day. So they came through with that one. And guess what? I finished 5th at Grand Slam. So that means I was owed $22,000 because it was $20,000 for 5th plus $2,000 appearance fee, which they publicized, which is dope. And I got 11K. So half of my Athlos check, half my Grand Slam track check is already more than first place would be from Diamond League. Mind you, Diamond League is run overseas and you get taxed on it. A lot of people don't know that. So when you finally do get the money, when you're running over in these like more liberal countries in Europe, have a lot higher tax rates over there. So you got to pay their local tax. You're getting a lot less than what they actually say. So 10 bands, you pay your 15-20% to your agent, whatever your agreement is. Plus paying taxes, your 10 bands could easily turn into like 6,500, 7K very easily. So these things aren't publicized though, but that's why, I have a platform to let y'all know that because no one else really is talking about it. About Fred Curley, said he is still clean and been tested twice by WADA in the last month. Yeah, because I think Fred Curley still wants to run at World Championships in the Olympics. And if he tests positive and he's still in the testing pool for WADA and AIU and all that, that won't be the case. So I think he's just going to compete in the league, get the bag, and come back to regular track. And then if he does that, who's really laughing? You know what I mean? Like, let's say they pay him, I don't know, $500,000 to come to this league. It's probably more than that, but let's just say 500K. Think about how long it would take you to earn 500K running Diamond League races. Even Grand Slam, you would have to win 5 of those to get 500K. And I'm assuming it's just one of them at enhanced games. And I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number. I don't know how much it is, but if it is that amount, and as far as I know, he can come back and run Grand Slam too. So he listen, you got to get as much money as you can while you're active as an athlete. Because once your time comes, there's not much for you on the other side if you don't establish yourself and build up your brand. So either you're working on building your brand so that you're established and you can have, something waiting for you when you're done running, which is what I'm trying to do. Or you get as much money as possible while you're in the sport, and then you make your moves after because you have a cushion to live off of, which is what generally a lot of the stars in our sport do. They hustle, and hopefully it's enough. Hopefully they make smart investments, put enough away in savings, do what you got to do so that you have a cushion, and then figure out what you want to do when you get there to your retirement. Okay, what else we got? By the way, we got some more people joining the chat, which is dope to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you enjoy these type of talks, I'll do more of these, but you guys got to let me know that you like them. So like and subscribe so I know, okay, more people are pulling up. And this is good. I don't even know if this is a good time to go live. I just threw it up because I'm like, they're doing the jumps tonight. Got to get a stream in before I got to get my preview in before they go off. But y'all let me know if you like these, and let me know in the comments too what other topics you want me to cover, because I got a lot of ideas. But it's always good when I cover what the people want. As long as track events and future leagues don't start making steady money from TV rights, their growth will always depend on sponsors' wallets equals unsustainable. That I agree with. I agree. And I think a large part of why the sport as a whole has been stagnant is because it depends so much on what you're saying, sponsors' wallets. So like, for example, a big sponsor of meets in America is Nike. So if Nike decides they don't want to do it, a lot of meets get cut. So that's why you saw a lot of opportunities in America dwindle this year. The only meet we really had was Prefontaine. Like Nike was sponsoring the LA meet, the LA Grand Prix, the New York Grand Prix. Both those got cut this year. Nobody really talked about that. It's funny how Grand Slam takes all the flack. When they cut LA Grand Slam, everyone's like, oh, Grand Slam this, Grand Slam that. But like USATF was cutting meets too. Went without a whisper. Nobody talked about that. But like for a lot of people, that was big opportunities for them to stay local, get good races in, get worth some good points. Like Europeans don't want to fill their lanes with North American athletes and Caribbean athletes. They want to fill them with the Europeans and sprinkle in a couple Americans here, a couple, Caribbean athletes, Canadians, whatever. They don't want to have them full of that because their local market cares about the Europeans. That's why you always see like a local athlete get a lane in a Diamond League, and you're like, how did that guy get in? He's so slow. But it's because they want to give local athletes or local audiences an incentive to watch, and they care about their own. So we need more opportunities over here so we can do the same thing, where we have more opportunities for people who are really good, maybe not the best, but they're really good. But it's hard for them to get lanes overseas because they're expecting to be the best. They want the best American versus a really good American to come overseas. You know what I mean? So in order to make it sustainable, we need more opportunities over here. And that includes things like the LA Grand Prix, the New York Grand Prix, even Bermuda, local meets that only like a hop and a skip to get to over here. Always got canceled this year. And that's because we rely too much on, like what you're saying, sponsors' wallets. So we need to find a way to make it more appealing, to put it on TV, get those TV rights, increase revenue. So yeah, you're on to something. Funny how not another sprinter has been announced yet to race with Fred. That's true. I know. I mean, I'm sure people are thinking about it, but they're probably seeing how the reaction is to Fred and wondering if it's worth it. Fred, he has that pending suspension with the whereabouts failure. So it makes sense for him to go do it because he's like, I'm going to be suspended anyways. Might as well just go in this league and get the bag. If that doesn't get thrown out, he's saying he's going to get those whereabouts failures thrown out somehow. I don't really know the details, so I'm not going to expand on that. But he, he has incentive to want to do it. Where other athletes who they don't have a suspension pending, they're a little more apprehensive. They got to be a little more cautious. It also depends on how much they're throwing out there. So maybe they have yet to be approached yet. Or maybe they don't have the right number yet. Who knows? It's an all-star game. The Pro Bowl. I think he's talking about Athlos. And yeah, I think right now it is kind of like that exhibition. And now a lot of people, the Pro Bowl struggles. The last I saw, they were doing like touch football or flag football. Ain't nobody pulling up for that. Like I know it was in Orlando. And back when they're actually tackling, I was considering going. Now that it's flag football, you miss me with that, bro. I don't care if it's the best people in the league, whatever. I'm not going to watch flag football. No. So even the all-star games and the other sports struggle. But you know which one doesn't struggle? The NHL. They did the mini like World Cup or whatever they called it. I forget what they called it, but it was like Canada versus US versus Sweden versus Russia and all that. That was a hit. A lot of people actually cared about that. It meant something because you're winning for your country. So there's a way to make all-star games fun. You just have to make people care. More incentives. That is ridiculous. Not paid by World US yet. Tell me about it. But this is just what the state of the sport is, and nobody talks about it. So they don't get any pressure. So why change? They can just sit on it. Take their time, collect interest on it, and pay you when they want to. You're at their mercy. The athletes need to realize we have power, but we don't have a union. So there's no collective voice. They have a collective voice. There's an agent voice. The organizations have a voice. The athletes don't. So we get shafted. Are you under USADA? If so, was Fred's account accurate of testing protocol? I don't know what he said because I didn't watch the episode, but I'm under CCES, which is the Canadian version, but because I live in the States, they use USADA to test me. So technically, I am under USADA. They just report back to CCES on their behalf. But USADA is the one that pulls up to my house. USADA, AIU, and then there's another one, Claridium or something like that. They all come test me. But USADA works on behalf of CCES. But yeah, it's still the same protocols as USADA. So I have to. If you can comment what he said about the testing protocol, I can comment on that. But I don't know what he said, so I can't answer that. No wonder Elaine left the coach that wanted 15%. I think. Yeah, I mean, look, the coaches also are living off the athletes, especially when they're pros and they're not college coaches. So yeah, if they're not sponsored by a sponsor like my coach is, like he's sponsored by Nike, then they just have to live off what the athletes give them, or what the federations give them, plus what they can make off the athletes. And the federations don't pay a lot, especially because we're in an inflationary environment. Prices of everything is going up, so they got to eat too. So I get it. Maybe she's just going to focus on just coaching Elaine, and she's like, hey, in order for me to survive, I need 15%. That is a lot though, because you're already paying your agent, like I said, anywhere from 10 to 20%. You're already paying foreign taxes. You got things that you need to pay for to operate your business as a professional, massages, treatment equipment, quality food, maybe hire a chef, just a lot of things are required of you to pay for. So you have high operating expenses already. Granted, if you live in a tax-friendly country like the US and you're incorporated and you do it right, you can write a lot of this stuff off. And I talk about this in my course, Pro Sprinter Blueprint. Shameless plug. You guys can comment if you want to know more about that. But I talk about things you can do to operate like a true professional. But yeah, if you do that, then you can write off a lot of the expenses. But still, including your coaching fees, you can write that off if you do it right. But yeah, it's a lot, bro. So when you come with 15%, it's like, damn, can't swing that. And the bigger your contract, the more that is. In other sports like NFL, NBA, obviously they make millions, so they can afford to give the agents a lot less, but they're only giving like 2-3%. That's standard in those leagues, because 2-3% of 30 million is a lot more than 15% of, 70K. You know what I mean? So it's just the status of our sport. We need more money throwing through our sport. Then everybody eats. The agents can get more, coaches can get more, athletes can get more. We all win. We just need to increase the revenue. Bro, what do you think about the F. Curly thing? I already gave my thoughts. I mean, I'm not one of those people that's going to say, shame him for what he did, especially in his situation. If he has a pending suspension, why not go get the bag in a league where they don't care about that? I hope he gets that failing failure thrown out and he's good to go. Because, Fred's a good dude. But I don't know just the specifics of his situation. I know he's gone through a lot this year, and it's been pretty hectic year for him, though. But he's my boy, so I hope he turns around. And he's a legend in the sport, and I want that his legacy tarnished by what's happened this year. So that's what I think. Is AC or WA holding that relay money in their account? I mean, usually when AC gets it, they give it out pretty quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's World Athletics, especially since all the other meets, Diamond League, World Champ, or World Continental Tour. It's the same deal. We're waiting, and they're like, "Oh, we're waiting on test results." They just use that excuse, and that's their cover. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's World Athletics. Fred's gonna be running against androids. Do you think a track 2K type video game would work? Depends. I don't know. I think the more that we build out the athletes and the more that people know them, then it could work. Because you got to think, it's not just the mechanics of the game that matter, which it does. It's got to be a fun game. It's got to be something that actually, people care about. But it's also about the name recognition too. You can't just have a bunch of people that people don't know in the game. Imagine 2K and the cover athlete was just like, I don't know, Dion Waiters, first athlete I can think of, or a random guy, where people don't know who it is, versus a cover athlete that's like LeBron. Everyone recognizes him. Oh, I want to play with LeBron in the game. Oh, that's cool. Caitlin Clark, whatever, WNBA, whatever. You know what I mean? So I think the more we build out the stars in the sport, the more that would sell. And so it's great when you see a Noah Lyles go on WWE with his medals and stuff, and the world championships, champions of what thing, and racing ISO speed, and building his profile in mainstream media. I think that's all great things. And people might think, oh, what is he doing? She just stick to track, blah, blah, blah. No, he knows what he's doing. He's growing the brand. Same thing with Melissa. She's right now. She's on the tour. She went on the Jennifer Hudson show. She was on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp. She was on Good Morning America. She's growing her profile the way you're supposed to. Gabby does the same thing. Sha'carri does the same thing. And the more people actually know the best people in our sport, Sydney, same thing, the better a game like this would sell. Like a lot of people, we know the athletes in track, so the track fans know that, but the track fans are small. It's a very niche indie fan base. So if we want something like that to work and profit, we can't just appeal to track fans. Clearly, like when we have something like Flow Track, where they're charging, $30 a month or whatever they charge, we're already eye gouging or cost gouging the existing small track fan base as it is. They don't want to keep paying more and more for more stuff. So, they're already exhausting how much they want to be spending on track. And if people who already care about the sport, the track fans, don't want to spend more, why would a casual want to spend more? Who's just like, hey, let me check out this track thing. $30. Oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go watch something else for free or for half the cost. Netflix is what, $15 a month in America. So how are you charging double what Netflix charges when they got a way bigger catalog that people actually care about and has way better marketing? They spend more money. Like, come on, it's just like Flow Track. Definitely going behind Flow Track was like one of the worst things that's happened to the sport recently in recent memory. Anyways, a 2K game could work, especially because like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. I don't know if you guys played that back in the day on the Wii. That was fire, bro. I love that game. And a lot of people casually would play that because they know Mario and Sonic. But if they get to know more track athletes and they grow in popularity, then they would care. Maybe they say like, oh, let's do long jump. Who am I going to choose? Oh, I know Tara Davis-Woodhall. But then like, who else do they know? You know what I mean? So we got to build up the profile of the sport before that could actually be sustainable. But it could work. Cover how not all times should be ratified by World Athletics. Lots of fake track meets that athletes go to get times in which they will never get close to ever in their careers. I mean, how are you gonna regulate that? I mean, that if it's sanctioned, then what can you really say? That's the stamp of approval. If it's a sanctioned meet, then it counts. Because in order to get sanctioned, that means you've done everything to satisfy the requirements that it's a legit meet. So if you're not sanctioned, then it shouldn't count. It shouldn't be on the World Athletics top list. But if it is, then I don't know, maybe somehow they could find a way to make the standards stricter. If you're saying that there's a lot of fake track meets, well, what even is a fake track meet? Like, again, a lot of people are saying yesterday on the stream that I did with Anson that the races in Eugene were fake. I mean, how? Like, you had a 1.8 in the 100-meter final. It's notoriously known as one of the fastest races or fastest tracks in the world. Because of that, you always get a good tailwind. Maybe you think that it was higher than 1.8. Who knows? But the way they calculate the wind, they only take the wind speed at a certain point in the race. So maybe at some point there was a gust and it was higher during the race and it was a 2.5. But like, that's how we calculate the wind speed. And if you have a 1.8, you've got USA finals where everyone's trying to make the meet. You got a great talent pool in the US. How are those times fake? Like, it's just great conditions and you're not replicating the same thing. So if you're peaked and you're training for that meet, maybe you go to another meet and you're not peaked anymore. Maybe you're facing fatigue now. Maybe you don't have 1.8. Maybe it's not in Eugene in a fast track. You know what I mean? So like, I don't consider that fake. So now if you go to like Show de France where like everybody and their mama goes in there and PRs, then okay. Maybe that gets considered fake because it's not just a one-off where, it's a really good wind. It's like every time you go, everyone's PRing. Maybe, you could look into that. But then again, if it's sanctioned, how do you take that off? Yes, you have to make as much money as you can in the time frame and lives. Just have to know a consistent at work on break, Ottawa. After 5, I can catch you. Okay, cool. So you like the lives after 5 o'clock. Good to know. Have you thought about running Brazil circuit or running Australian in the summer? I really can see you doing 2-4. Any thoughts? I don't know. I mean, it would have to line up for sure, with my schedule, and and in a down year, anything's possible because we got a little bit more flexibility. You can do things, but I personally want to run in Canada more. Go where you're celebrated more, and I don't get to run in Canada other than nationals really. So it'd be nice to do the Canadian circuit, but Brazil would be fun. Australia would be really cool. So who knows? Canada's a wealthy country. Why don't we see Canadian meets? They have Canadian meets, but they're sponsored by Athletics Canada, and the prize purses aren't that great. But like I was saying, maybe if they had some appearance fees, I might consider popping up. I'd like to run in like Edmonton. Back then, they used to have the Edmonton Track Classic, and that got a lot of people coming. They did a really good job. They brought us out to the Edmonton Eskimos CFL game. They had their mall where a lot of people got to go. They did a good job, and it went away, but they got to meet again. They got some meets, and Caleb McCurry ran 43 in Canada. He ran it in Guelph, I want to say. So I might pull up to Guelph next year. Yeah, I saw a lot of people running really fast there. So we'll see. But yeah, I would love for Canada to get a Dime League or a Continental Tour, something of that magnitude, or have a Grand Slam stop or Athlos stop. There's plenty of places in Canada that can work. Is it time for ESPN, Fox, Amazon to get involved in Pro Track? I think having ESPN, First Take, or Skip Bayless, Shannon means, yeah. But again, they cover what's popular. So, when the Olympics time comes around, that's when you would most likely see them covering it because that's what's hot and everyone understands. But these sports shows are only going to talk about what's hot. That's why they talk about LeBron and the Dallas Cowboys 50,000 times a year, because that's what people tune in for. So when more people start caring about it, they'll cover it. They're a reactive network, not a proactive. Like, they don't decide what's important. They react to what they're seeing other people want them to talk about and make conversations around that. So if we grow up the profile outside the Olympics, that's when you'll see something like that happen. I love how you Canadian Jamaicans apply yourselves and establish a strong online presence in media. You probably don't even have to run to pay your bills for real. I mean, that's the goal, and, you can see like someone like Justin was able to retire and then establish his podcast really fast because he's done enough and established himself as a brand while he was running. And I'm trying to do that so that seamlessly when I'm done running, hopefully, God willing, after 2028 at the Olympics, my profile is big enough that, yeah, I don't need to really work a job. I could just have enough investments. I got my brand so I can make money off of this, even like a Shannon Sharp. Like, Shannon Sharp's a media guy now, but he was a Hall of Fame football player first, and then just leverage that into his role at Fox Sports. And then he went to ESPN, and now he's got his podcast and Club Shay Shay and Nightcap. So that's the playbook. I mean, there's a lot of things you can leverage your opportunity into. And that's what I'm trying to do. And, I encourage other athletes to do the same thing. Grow your portfolio with investments, grow your brand so that you can actually have something waiting for you at the end of the sport and not just retire and be like, all right, what do I got to do now? I guess I got to, get a job at Home Depot or whatever, or try and use this degree, because the job market is tough right now. And you're in a sport for, 5-10 years. They're going to be like, okay, where's your job experience? No job experience. All right, start at the bottom. And now you're going from making this amount while you're an active athlete to making this and having to work your way up at a higher age when people are, trying to start families when they're done and, explore the world and whatever. When you retire, you're trying to move on to greener pastures. And if you're going to have to start from the bottom when you retire, like, 25 to 35, it's tough. Couldn't be me. You think Shannon Sharp hosting a Uncle Shay Shay Classic could be successful since he's a track fan? Hell yeah. And, I just saw Cordell Tinch on it the other day. So, like, he's clearly into track and field, and that's dope. Right now, it's all American athletes. But, hey, I'm cool with that. He's an American. He's trying to get more American audience. And honestly, they deserve that. So, I love just seeing people in track and field penetrate mainstream media. A real do or die battle sells way better. than all those all-star exhibition runs in Europe, at least. The biggest and the best meet in Europe this year. Celestia Diamond League, hyped as the U.S. Trials Revenge. Yeah, that's true. But that's only because the arena right now where the U.S. Trials Revenge could have happened was at the Celestia Diamond League, because that's on the calendar, the next event after the USA Trials. If, let's say, Grand Slam track or Athlos with men involved or whatever, any other meet were to be positioned after the USA Trials in competition with Diamond League, I think they would pull up there and they could market it way better. Like, let look at this. You have the USA Trials thing with Noah and Kenny. Instead of going overseas to do in Poland, where they have nothing to do with USA Trials, what if you keep it local? What if you have it in Los Angeles? Now you can market it as like a head-to-head heavyweight match, the rematch, revenge meet. You could sell it like you would with a UFC event or a boxing event. You know, like that's how they do it. But when you're going overseas to Poland, like, yeah, they can market it and people want to tune in and watch on TV. But like, what if you actually want to pull up to the event and make it like a spectacle? Like, you know, you have them, you know, do like a promo video like they do in boxing and say like, yeah, like he pushed me and I didn't like that. You know, next time I see him, I'm going to roll him up and, you know, like build it up a little bit more. Like all they did really was just say, we got, hey, you like that event at USA Trials? We got them running it back here at Poland. That's all they did. But imagine they actually like built it up. Like, did you guys see the Karsten in Mondo one-on-one race? I don't know why we don't do that more. That was so dope. Like they actually had like intro videos. They're both sponsored by Red Bull, so like Red Bull hyped it up. They had like all kind of Red Bull marketing at the event. I was there. I was there to watch in Zurich, and it was so like, why don't we do this more? Like it was a glimpse at what the sport could be. But like, imagine we had actual 100-meter sprinters or 200-meter guys. Like this is a pole vault guy and a 400-meter hurdle guy. Why can't we apply that to other actual sprinters? It could be so successful. But yeah, like you're saying, the all or the do or die battle, it does work. We had that with Michael Johnson and Donovan Bailey, the infamous race, and we never did again because they put. I've heard it was $1 million to win, and they each got $500K appearance fees. That's insane money in today's world. But imagine back then when it happened in the 90s. Like that's inflation adjusted. That's just crazy money. We should have more of those. Remember when Fred and Marcel were going back and forth because Marcel was the Olympic champion and Fred was the world champion? Think about how dope that do or die battle would have been. It wasn't marketed the right way though. They're just like, oh yeah, come watch it at the Diamond League with 6-7 other people in the race too. So it's like that's not head to head. That's just literally another race, and you're trying to swindle us and say, oh yeah, this is the one-on-one battle we've all been waiting for. Like, no, they said they want to race one-on-one with nobody else. Make it happen. And I think we need to have more opportunities to make that happen. And I could see a meet like Grand Slam or Athlos be more flexible and throwing that in there. On the lighter side, you and RJ Barrett both doing the hair. Go Aaron, go Raps, go Jason. I didn't know RJ Barrett was going on his hair, but that's dope. Yeah, go Toronto. We need a pair World's trackside recap you and Perdita. I hope you follow her path in her broadcast as well. Yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. We got a recap episode coming next week, by the way. Next Wednesday, we're going to be filming, and it should drop on Thursday. So check that out. And yeah, we'll probably touch on some para stuff. We'll make sure that we cover that too. Give some love. Texas Tech times are fake. Are they fake or are they just at altitude? See, this is the thing. Corny going 982 there and 10-1 at Worlds is sus. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. It's a big drop off. And I don't know what it was that made him run a lot slower. But that doesn't automatically mean that the time was fake. Like you can see T-Mars did the same thing. He went 983. And then, what, 10-2, I think? But he was clearly gassed. He had a long season. That makes sense. Corny could have his own reason. I don't know what it was. But it doesn't mean it's fake. I think he was just primed and peaked for USA Trials and had great conditions. And then he didn't replicate that in Tokyo. Maybe he was still dealing with jet lag. I don't know. Doesn't mean it's fake, though. Texas times are fake. I mean, they're okay. Again, Texas, notoriously fast place to run. Great winds. Some people say it's downhill. You know, hot weather. So when those high school cats are running like 9.9 low, and then they go and run like 10.1 at Eugene, when it's raining, you know, maybe it's just what you can run at your peak versus what you run on average. I think we should look at that. And what I propose too, and I'm going to make a video about this in the future. I got to flesh it out a little bit more. But I think we should change the top list to an average of your top 5, or even a running score of all your races versus just your top list time, or have both. Because in other sports, think about it. When you say who wins the scoring title of the NBA, who wins the rushing title in the NFL, it's not just your highest total. Like this just past week, I play fantasy football. Rico Dowdle had 200 something yards. Is he the rushing champion of the year? I mean, on average, he's not leading the league. But if this is track and field, we'd say, oh, he's the best running back in the league because he went for 200. That's the highest of the year in one game. And I think that skews a lot of things, because if he goes back and next week he has 60 yards, was that 200 fake? Or was he just having the game of his life that day? It's the same thing in track. Like maybe he just had the race of his life that day. But on average, if you take the top 5 times, then it paints the proper picture. And I think in track and field, we need to do that more, so that you don't say, oh, that time's fake. It's just him at his peak. But we go to the average, it starts to make a little bit more sense. You know? Cordy is not trash. Stop it. Marcellus Moore ran 9.9 in Canada this year. Yeah, I think that was in Guelph. So that's what I'm saying. I want to pull up to Guelph. They're running sometimes. Yes, I said to you last live I watched, run in Canada where you're appreciated. Canada needs a diamond or one below. Edmonton is a sports town in sports. I agree. And there was talks back in the day when Edmonton was popping and doing their thing of making them a diamond league, but it never happened, which is unfortunate. You and Perdita killed it this year on CBC. Enjoy Donovan Jason Renington's track show. I haven't watched their show. I don't know if it's any good. I might have to check it out if you're saying it's good. But I appreciate you tuning in to Trackside. And make sure you come next Thursday, for our recap show. It's going to be fire. Last time on live, I said run Windsor. My mistake. It is Guelph, the fast track. P.S. Talk to Perdita about post-track, her going Hamilton to school. You are made for broadcast, Aaron. We'll do. Why aren't there 200-meter relays often? I don't know. I think it's a quality thing. Like, there's already so much love for the track events versus field, and I think they try to do the equality thing versus what's best for the sport. And I think a 4x2 would sell really well, and I would love to run it more. I wish they had it at World Athletics, but they changed it to make a World Relays. They changed World Relays to be a qualifier meet now, which makes sense for the World Championships and Olympics. And, you know, from a selling standpoint, it makes sense. Like, hey, this meet matters. Everyone has got to pull up, because if you don't, you might not qualify for Worlds, or you got to go run at other opportunities like Jamaica had to for the 4x1 and kind of scramble and panic versus punching your ticket now. So that makes sense. And the 4x2 is not contested in those events. And I'd rather see a 4x2 than a mixed 4x1. I don't know about y'all. I don't know. Do you guys like the mixed 4x1? I don't know about it. I would rather see a 4x2. But yeah, I think they just have too many sprint events, and they're like, rather than adding more of a good thing, which I think is positive for the sport and would help grow it, they're like, oh, let's give opportunity somewhere else. Even though they did add the mixed 4x1. So maybe they don't even care. I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, there should be more 4x2s. I agree. And Canada too. I feel like we could break the world record, bro. We ran 1:19.2 with me, Brendan, Andre, and Gavin. Imagine we had Jerome now, where all 4 of us have run 19. Just imagine what we could run. The world record is like 1:18.6 or something like that. Nightcap said they were interested in international track athletes. That might be a good look. Give him insight on what it's like to be internationally. He's a track nerd. You know what? I've been hearing this, so I might reach out. Who knows? Might try my luck. Why Donovan so bitter with Noah? You think Noah even knows who he is? He didn't know who Petro Meneo is. I think Noah knows. I mean, Petro Minea was the world record holder, but that was back in what, 70s? I want to say. Let me see. Petro Minea world record. Yeah, 1979. So it makes sense why he doesn't know Petro Minea, but like Donovan Bailey won in the 90s. He's a lot more relevant. So I think he knows who he is, but why is Donovan so good? I don't know. Donovan is more of the camp back in the day where he cherishes his era versus the modern one. Like he tries to cover today's era and be objective and give them their flowers, but if you start to approach him saying like, oh, this era is better than the last one, then he gets a little defensive. And, you know, you see that in a lot of sports. Like Bill Russell doesn't accept Michael Jordan as the GOAT. And, you know, a lot of the 90s guys don't accept LeBron as being the GOAT because they want to defend their era. Their era, you know, they get nostalgic. They say their era is the best. They say, oh, the new technology is the reason why they're running faster and yada, yada, yada. And I think Donovan might feel like a lot of people are putting Noah above him and he wants to be remembered historically, saying like, yo, I did my thing. I broke through a record. Noah hasn't broke through a record. I won the Olympic gold too. You know, so people are making the argument that Noah's better all time than Donovan. You know, I certainly think there's a case to be made in the 100. I'd have to do more research, but there's a case to be made. And, you know, the OGs don't like that. They were on top once upon a time. They want to stay on top. They want to preserve that feeling. So it can come across as bitter. Maybe it's just him having that same confidence that made him successful. Ooh, I like the top 5 average idea. You see, you know, and then people won't say things like, oh, that's fake, because it won't. If they have an outlier event, it will show up in their top 5. Their real average will expose, okay, that was just a one-off. They had great conditions there, but really this is who they are on average. Or maybe even top 10. Maybe, I don't know. I just feel like people don't run enough for a top 10, but that would be better. Or maybe you just do a running average of how many times you run, but then that incentivizes you to run less. So then you have a higher average. So that's why I just said top 5. Top 5 or top 10 times. I think top 5, honestly. Unless we get people running more in today's day and age. Top 5. Yeah, average matters more for sure. Yeah. Donovan shows trash. He's a bitter old man who hates on Americans. I mean, I haven't seen the show, so I'm not going to say it's trash, but I haven't heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot about Justin's show, and that's more new. So I don't know if it's doing the numbers it needs to. I don't know if he's not marketing well, or if the show's just not entertaining enough. Who knows? Maybe I'll check it out one day, but I'm not going to call it trash. But he's just someone who, you know, he called Michael Johnson a chicken when they raced. He's always prided himself on being American, beating Americans. So I'm sure he still carries that same thing. 4x2 relay in 2017 was like, oh, you remember that? Aaron Brown with X. Yes, sir. Back when I was anchor. If you haven't seen that race, go and watch 2017 4x2 and prepare to be amazed. Sorry, but field is 80% Stu's Fest. Is it possible to sever track from field sometimes without issues? That's what Grand Slam track did. And they caught some flack. And, you know, like I said, Athlos came out. I don't even know why I still have that banner. I'm hoping to take that out. Athlos came out and said, oh, we got field. We support field too. But really, they only added long jump. And that's only because they have Tara Davis-Woodhall. If she wasn't jumping, imagine she pulled out. Who's tuning into the long jump then? Nobody. Let's just be honest. The field events have to be revamped. And I like what Ryan Krauser did. You know, instead of complaining, he started his own shot put league. And, you know, he can come with a different angle. He can put more spotlight on those athletes. And the people who do care about shot put now have a way to just exclusively watch shot put. Like, I think separating is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. People think, oh, if you separate track from field, you know, field will get the short end of the stick. But if you truly believe field events are entertaining, you should want to be separated, because right now in their current state, they're just thrown in a random jump here and there, random throw here and there in between the sprint events on the track or the track events on the track. Someone who cares about a Noah Lyles or a sha'carri or a Melissa or Gabby or Sydney and is tuning in to watch that has no idea what those throw events are. unless they like randomly did it back in their days in grade school, in gym class, you know. So someone who understands and cares about sprinting and wants to see like, hey, what's this no allows guy gonna do? And then they're randomly being shown a random throw here and there. They're like, what's this? Like, imagine you're watching the NBA and you're like, oh, I'm tuning in to see Steph Curry shoot threes. And then every now and then you see someone hitting a golf ball in between on commercial breaks or when they go to timeout. So like, what does this have to do with that? You know, like, yes, I understand it's historically been track and field, and you should keep that and preserve that in the championships, at USA trials, at Canadian trials, at the Olympics, at the World Championships. But it doesn't always have to be track and field. Niching down is better because then you can get people who care about the event more, tuning in to that thing. And that goes for the field events too. Maybe they can be shown in a better light. Maybe it's better to tune in when you can actually see the progression of a championships. Like, oh, this person jumped this. Now they jumped this, and they all jumped them. Like that triple jump competition at World Championships this year, where Buddy won on the last jump. Like that would have been exciting to see the entire buildup. But I guarantee you on the stream, we didn't see that going back and forth, that whole buildup of it. We just saw, oh, this last jump now, he has a chance to win, and boom, he could win. But we didn't get to build up the drama, get to know who's actually jumping. And yeah, I think field events get the short end of the stick currently, and they should want to sever. They should want to have their own day, like how Athlos is doing it, where the jumps are on one day and the track events on the next day. That way, you could put the shine on the field events, let them showcase who they are, and we could see the actual event blossom where we're watching the entire thing. That's my 2 cents. But everyone's so caught up in, oh, well, Michael Johnson said he could save track but not field. How dare he? Like, why wouldn't he? Why? It's like me saying like, hey, I can cure diabetes, but it's like, oh, what about cancer? And it's like, I'm not the Lord and Savior. I'm sorry. I feel like this is my expertise. Michael Johnson was on the track when he was running. He's incentivized to save track. You know, get a field guy to try and save field. Donovan thought he would run 9.4 in today's spikes. He would run 10.2 with the testing. That's crazy. Yeah. He's not going to run 9.4, but he's not going to run 10.2. I give him his respect. I said he'd run 9.7, like 9.7 mid to 9.7 low, based on how he runs. Anson thinks he would run 9.6 or better. That's a bit too crazy. 9.4 is insane. But yeah, I give him at least 9.7 mid to 9.7 low. It's an awesome link. You said, I'd love to see you run Canada meets. Also included, bring down that 9. Hey, man. That's something we should really consider next year. That 4x4 record is pitiful. That's embarrassing. Back in our primes, I feel like me, Brendan, Jerome, and Andre could have got it. Just run back the same 4x4 on the 4x1 and the 4x4. But I don't know what kind of shape they're going to be in the 400. So, yeah, Jerome can definitely do it. He split like 44 something this year. CMW, if he's ready to go for sure. Even Marco can run like a 44, 45. You know, we have the guys to do it. We just got to all come together at the same time and seriously go for it. But that could be our challenge for next year. Who knows? Ultimate Championships adopted Continental Cup format, more like draft all-star meet. Imagine a team with Noah, Aaron, Tobogo, Z versus. Absolutely. I even thought that the Grand Slam should have an all-star meet. You know, like if in the last Grand Slam in LA, they had a relays where it was like they could draft from the racers and challengers, or have like racers versus challengers. That'd be dope too. Like imagine every Grand Slam, maybe not everyone because they're already running 2 events, but imagine like 2 of the 4. They had a relay team where it's challengers versus racers. That's another event that's dope. And the racers are competing together, so they should have more chemistry. And then you could throw in, the challengers together. And I don't know. I just think there's ideas for us to think outside of the box and make it more entertaining. And everyone loves the relays, you know. But yeah, I think that's a dope idea if we had a draft or all-star meet. And it sounds like that's what Athlos is going to do, where they draft people and they have their athlete owners who are going to go and draft people. They got to provide more details about that. Actually, let's talk about that while we're here. Hold on. Share screen. Let's go back to that. So this thing right here, league. So clearly we can see sha'carri's silhouette. Built to empower the modern. Actually, hold on. Oh, I don't even have the right thing up. What the hell? There we go. All right. Banners. League in 2026. This is the last thing I want to talk about anyways. Built to empower the modern athlete and blaze the sport forward, the Athlos League format will introduce a team-based competition with historic athlete advisor ownership model. So I want to have them talk more about this, but you can see this is Gabby. Let's play this video.
Track and field was made for more. More stages, more attention, more accolades, more than a moment, but a league with a season to follow, teams to root for, all owned by the athlete. Some may say this is a leap too far. To us, it's the only way the sport was made to move. Forward.
So that sounded like Serena Williams. So that's pretty exciting. That's pretty dope. And I hope that they do it the right way. Sounds like the athletes do get ownership in some way, and that they're going to be owning the team or drafting, or I don't know. I just want more details of how it's going to work, because so far that's all they've given us. But even that little promotion there gets you hype. So let's set it back. Striving to the future. When they move, the sport moves. The Athlos League introduces a team-based competition model designed for and by the modern athlete, taking place after the conclusion of the World Athletics season. Athlos will feature multiple meets hosted in major cities. See, I don't like that though. Why at the conclusion of World Athletics season? I don't like that. Like, how you're telling them to extend their season when the season's already very long. Like the track season, if you're running indoors, you're competing from like January to September, and then you want to have a whole league after? Like, no, put it during the calendar year. Come on, man. Have some courage. You're offering more prize money. Don't be afraid to rock the boat. At least, like, that's what I liked about Grand Slam, that they were daring to be an alternative and saying, we're better. We're offering more prize money. We're offering more opportunities. We're local in America. We're coming with it. And obviously Diamond League was threatened by that, and they didn't like it. And, when Grand Slam ran into problems, they were quick to clown them and yada, yada, yada. But that's the risk you run into when you're trying to be something groundbreaking, something new, something that people want to see. I want Athlos to be the same thing, not put it at the end of the season as some like little exhibition thing. It's whack. Team-based league. Athlos is shifting gears, moving from a solo spotlight to a team-centered showdown, to team-centered showdowns where participant athletes will compete for teams, not just times. It's still blazing fast, but with teams to cheer for. They run it, they own it. sha'carri, Gabby, Tara, they're not just stars, they're owners. Athlos is designed with athletes at the center, not just as talent, but as stakeholders, making the sport they built something they own. Season continues. When the global stage wraps up, Athlos keeps the momentum going, kicking off after the World Athletics season in 2026. Our league will feature multiple events, fast-breaking athletes, record-breaking prizes. So they're saying like record-breaking prizes, but it's at the conclusion of the season. Like, why? It's whack. And also, what I want to know too is, they have Gabby, Tara, and sha'carri, who are three of the biggest names. But like, let's say a Sydney wants to join. Could she be an athlete owner? Like, is there room for that? Melissa Jefferson-Wooden just had one of the best seasons we've ever seen. First woman to triple as an American. First since Shelly Ann did it in 2013. Number 4 all time in the 100, number 9 all time in the 200. She should be an owner. Like right now, she's going to be an athlete, a competitor. She pulled out and she's doing her own booth. But like next year, why wouldn't she be an owner too? So like, what's their motto for up and coming athletes who are bigger now? You know, I'd want to see how they handle that. But you know, they're heading in the right direction. I just want to see them do it properly, like do it during the competitive season so we can actually get great competition. All right, let's go to more of these comments. So that's what I had about the league. What are your thoughts about the league? Are you guys excited for that next year? Are you guys going to watch this meet? I know this is a stream by Athlos, so let me know in the comments. Are you guys going to watch today and tomorrow? And what do you think about the league for 2026? But let's get in these comments and then get up out of here. I didn't expect this to go this long, to be honest. But my streams always go pretty long. I didn't know this many people would turn up at 12 p.m. on a Thursday, but here we are. Got 29 people. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me throw up my little graphic. Bang, like and subscribe. All right, let's get back in these comments. Where was I at? So if I get a lottery all-star relay would be insane. I agree. They had USA versus Europe in 2018. It was lit. And that's the thing is like they have these meets and they're great ideas and then they just go away from it. It's like, why don't we expand on that? Why don't we grow it? Like that Continental Cup tour that they had was dope, where each one represents their own continent and we have a competition. That went away. I don't know if it's because they ran out of money or what, but those are fun. And then they had USA versus Europe. That was cool too. And even though like obviously I'm Canada and that doesn't include me, I'm cool with that. Like if the meets are good, I support it. So like Athlos, obviously I can't run it. I still support it because I just want opportunities for athletes to eat. The more athletes eat in the sport, the more money is flowing around, the better the product will be. And I just want us to get out of the poverty zone, bro. I'm tired of only track fans caring about meets outside of the Olympics. Tired of people not knowing how great the sport is and how great our athletes are in America and in North America, like caring about the same 4 sports. Like, why are we not on the same platform as boxing, UFC, tennis, golf? We can get there. Just gotta increase the money, increase the revenue, increase the marketing, increase the storytelling, showcase the athletes. The talent is not the problem. That's one thing for damn sure. Donovan Bailey versus Michael Johnson, 1997, 150 rivalry was legendary. Shame about the finish, but that sort of rivalry matchup we need now. Do you think Athlos are going to? Absolutely. That's what I said earlier. Bring back that. And you know, obviously you're gonna have to come with the money because they're not when it's one-on-one, there's gonna be a big loser. And so you have to incentivize the athletes to want to do it and put their legacy on the line, but have like a championship belt on the line, you know, like that's a perfect arena for you to do it. When you have something local, like a Grand Slam or Athlos, like imagine they had in 2026, Melissa Jefferson-Wooden versus Sha'carri Richardson, who is the fastest American woman. It's fire. I like it. Or Gabby Thomas versus Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. Melissa just came in and won the 200 title. Gabby's the defending Olympic champion. Battle it out in America. You tell me you wouldn't get behind that? You tell me that wouldn't sell? Come on now. A random lottery all-star relay with different countries on the same team would be dope. I agree. And then you can get into fantasy relays and see how fast they can really push the world record. Like that's dope. Chris Belcher. Did he pass? That's crazy if he did. I hope that's not what you mean. I've never seen Donovan hating on Americans. I mean, I haven't seen the show, but apparently that's what he's been doing. I don't know. Donovan is known for hating on Americans. I don't know if it's hating or if it's just like saying like we're good too. Because back in his day, you know, he beat Americans a lot. And so I don't know. Americans are always on top. And so anytime another country has the claim to beat them, they're gonna flex that. Like I'm sure Jamaicans love being Americans. Like when they went 1-2 in the 100, I'm sure they were loving that. You know, nobody wants to see America win everything all the time. So the other countries, they flex when they have a claim to. Field is not a snooze. Timetable at meets for a fan needs to be separate. Yeah, I agree. I don't think field events are boring. I think they just need to be shown a different way and given the spotlight. And I think that happens if you separate them in individual meets. Donovan is known for breaking the world record and destroying MJ in a challenge that he proposed. Donovan is known for being relevant for 3 years and for okay, they're going back and forth about Donovan. Okay, clipped. Be for real. MJ had 4 world records at once. He had sub 490 straight. He's the top spinner of all time. This is true. We're not gonna front like MJ wasn't a legend. MJ was gonna hawk down Donovan if he didn't MJ. I don't think so. I mean, Donovan stopped running. He turned around as well, so can't really use his time. But my top 5: Bolt, MJ, Carl Lewis, Maurice Green, Justin Gatlin. It's a good top 5. It's a good top 5. How is Athlos excluding men good, but Tara such a dweeb for that? Exactly. I mean, I'm not going to call her a dweeb because I think Tara Davis-Woodhall is good for the sport. And, I want us to be working together versus attacking each other. But it's the same logic. Excluding certain events is the same as excluding a gender. It's the same thing. Certain events are not there. Because at the end of the day, men's 100 is the same as long jump. So taking out long jump is the same as taking out men's 100, men's 2, men's 4, all the men events. But no one has a problem when it's Athlos. But I think it's because of the marketing. In today's society, it's okay if you exclude men, but don't you dare exclude women. Because if you exclude a historically marginalized group, that's bad. But if you give them more opportunity, that's good. And so, socially, it's accepted to have a women's only league. Like you have a women's march, you have, women celebrations and stuff like that. Like that's accepted. But imagine a men's only league when historically it's been both. Now it seems like you're going backwards in time, and you're being conservative, and we're all about progression. So I don't necessarily think we need a men's only league anyways. But if we had a men's only competition, like the Donovan versus Michael Johnson thing, I think that could work. But anyways, people might complain about that too. A league and draft picks will be track fans the sport already has. How do you get people interested again? MJ was the big name USA now that good-hearted people read the bad stuff. I mean, I think, again, we leverage our stars, which is what Athlos is doing, and I applaud them for that. The other thing I was going to talk about with Athlos, you guys let me know in the comments real quick. There's no Sydney. Sha'carri's not competing, even though she's signing autographs and having her own booth. Melissa's not competing, signing autographs, has her own booth. But is there enough star power? Gabby's not there. She's not even signing autographs. I don't know why, but I don't know if she's going to be there. We've got Shelly Ann. She's not competing, but she's going to be there to get her tribute. Is there enough pull for you to care about this meet? We do have Sierra performing. Got some track events with, other events have good stars. You got Masai, Faith Kipyegon, and Keely Hodgkinson and stuff like that. So there's still some good competitors. But do we need to have all the stars on deck, all the female stars, for you to care about this meet? Or you just want to see good track? Let me know in the comments. Because the big thing people were talking about with Grand Slam was, they don't have Noah Lyles, they don't have Sha'carri, they don't have Kashane, they don't have Sharika. And they're talking about who they didn't have versus who they did have. They did have Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. They did have Kenny Benherrick. They did have Sydney McLaughlin-Lebroni. They did have a lot of good athletes, but they didn't have everybody. And so does that matter to you as track fans? Let me know in the comments, because that'll help me to formulate my opinions on next year with Athlos and Grand Slam and stuff. Noah has more individual goals and medals than Maurice Green now. I don't see how you can have Mo above him unless you factor in the 60 a lot. There's a case for Noah being in the top 5 for sure, especially if you include both events. There's definitely a case. I would have to do more research before I say that, because Maurice Green was one of my favorite runners. So I'm not just going to willy-nilly throw him out, but I do think Noah is knocking on the door of being in the top 5 for sure. Now track needs to get past the bad press with MJ. Athlos will work because her husband has the dollars to bang and up to follow. I agree. But I don't think it's that hard to get rid of the bad pass for MJ. As long as MJ can secure the funding, the last little, no, I'm not gonna say little, the last half is millions of dollars. It's gonna be tough. But if he can pay out the athletes and vendors and all that stuff, the workers, everybody gets paid what they're owed, why then is there any bad press left? Yeah, it took longer than they said. Oh, well, it's a startup league. If they came through on their promise, at the end of the day, everyone's going to be happy. They got the money that they're owed. I'll be happy. I'll gladly go back again. And I know people like Kenny and Melissa, they said they'd go back even before they got a dime. You know, as long as they get all their money, why wouldn't they go back? It's not like the grass is greener somewhere else, you know, unless you're a woman, you can go to Athlos. Where's the opportunity to make this kind of money? And I think, you know, for a startup league, you can be given grace for their troubles. They come back next year, solidly run through all their meets, so that this is something that's here to stay. Get some more sponsors on board, increase viewership, more people sign on. This could be a big thing. And probably Sydney will be at the Eagles Giants game today. Stoke. I'm gonna watch the running, definitely not watching jumps. Well, I mean, you're gonna watch the jumps during the broadcast because they're gonna show it on both days, but maybe you're not watching today, which, you know, now that I know that today's not the finals, I probably won't even watch today. I'll just watch the replays or where people post on Twitter, Instagram. Let's go. Nobody beating North America. Will Athlos meet be streamed? Yes, that's another thing Athlos does well is they have it very accessible. So I think it's on ESPN. It's streamed on X. There's like a whole bunch of them. I can't remember it all, but I remember he put out a tweet. So just go to Athlos Twitter and you'll find all the info of where to watch. But it's very accessible, which is good. Unlike Diamond League, which is behind Flow Sports, which is awful. Don a wig and join Athlos. Don with Ether. Nah, let the women have their shine, man. I'm cool with that. I'll just sit back and talk about it. I want to see if Nasser is going to go for sub 48. She looked pissed. Hey, man, I want to see her go out and take it out. She didn't take it out as hard as I thought she was going to at Worlds. I thought she was going to take out like a maniac and then get caught. But I think she tried to go for the win. She still ran a good race. 48.1 is no joke. She almost PR'd. Still one of the fastest times we've seen. 48.1, when she did in Doha, was like, oh my God. It's just in this race, we got 247s. Sounds crazy to say. I still can't believe that. But anyways, yeah. I want to see, that's the race I want to watch the most. That and probably the 100 hurdles, and the 100 to support my teammates. But yeah, I want to see that 4. Even without Sydney, it's still going to be hot. That kind of what I don't enjoy about jiving of Grand Slam. Yeah, they got to knock that off, man. It's just whack. Will GST be back next year? They said they won't be back unless they pay everybody, and they're planning to pay everybody and planning to be back. So fingers crossed, man. Not just because, you know, I'm owed another 50%. And I'd like to get that. That'd be nice. But even beyond that, for the viability of the sport long term, let's just root for Grand Slam track. I don't know why you would be rooting against them unless you're the Diamond League and you want to keep the status quo because you're making a lot of money from paying the athletes a lot less than they deserve. And you're comfortable with not having to put more money into marketing and growing the sport and stuff like that. Like you're comfortable in your position. That's the only reason why you'd want to see a Grand Slam fail. Or if your ego is inflated and you want to be the only show in town, that's the only reason. Or if you just don't like Michael Johnson. But other than that, that's all support for Grand Slam track, man. Let's hope they're back next year. No, Chris is good. I was just talking about he was celebrating early. Oh, I don't remember that. I didn't think I watched that, but glad he's okay. You're right. The sport is great in Canada. I told you previous live about growing up and going to full houses, Hamilton. Where did the track live? Yeah, I mean, part of it was the drug stuff. Part of it was losing the revenue and the funding. Part of it was just competition. You know, like back in the day, you only had the TV. You're just flipping through the channels and looking for something to watch. You're starved for something to put on TV. And, you know, it's a lot easier, a lot less competition. Now we have TV on our phones 24/7. We have streaming. We have social media. We have all different kind of crazy sports. it's just like we're being blasted with all different type of content 24/7. And so we got to be more entertaining. That's simple as that. There's a lot of entertaining options out there. Got to keep up with the times. Other sports have revolutionized, and other sports, are even the ones that are doing well, still have their struggles. Like the NBA, their All-Star game is struggling. They had to introduce the mid-season tournament so that people start playing harder during the regular season because we had a lot of load management. They have the play-in, which was to incentivize people to play harder, so they don't fall into the play-in spot. So they're, even though the NBA is paying record number of dollars, they're getting record-breaking TV deals. Even they're struggling. So if a sport that's making millions and billions of revenue and stuff like that is struggling, how do you think track and field is doing? That's where we went wrong. We got arrogant. We got comfortable. We thought everything was sweet. We thought, okay, we could just keep doing this forever. We got comfortable. And slowly we became more and more and more irrelevant over the years, paying people less and less and less, or keeping the same while we're not keeping up with the cost of inflation. So now people are struggling, and it's just a bad look. And people look at our sport like, why would I want to be a pro track athlete? Why don't I go be an NFL player? Because I can make way more money. So if we want to get that respect back, we got to increase the profile, bro. How come Diamond League never goes to Canada, Osaka, Bahamas, Athens? I mean, I don't know. Good question. Depends on the viability of the markets. Maybe they don't see the opportunity. Maybe there's nobody that's pushing for this. That's something that the people locally have to push for. And, I don't know the exact process of how it works, but I'm sure there's a way you can apply for it and stuff like that. And, you have to show certain things, but yeah, I'd love to see it. What do you think your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be when you leave the sport? I just want my legacy to be, I was someone that was a professional. I always showed up and competed to the best of my ability. And bigger than that, someone that helped others succeed. It's not just about me. I want to help grow the sport forward, which is why I started talking about track and field in the beginning. I used to put out tweets. I still do from time to time, challenging the status quo and saying if, for example, I said, if track and field ever wants to grow professionally, the biggest sport or biggest event can't be the Olympics. And people saw that as controversial. They're like, oh, you want to get rid of the Olympics? I'm like, no, listen to what I'm actually saying. Other sports participate in the Olympics, but their biggest event is in their own sport. They control it. They have access over it. We have very little say over the Olympics, but we rely on them so heavily to promote our athletes. We look at every 4 years, we're begging and pleading to make the Olympic team so we can grow our brand and mainstream media will actually care about us. But every 4 years, that's the only time you're relevant. How is that sustainable? What about the other years? And it's something that the sport doesn't even control. We need to big up the world championships to be bigger. And so I want my legacy to be, I help push that narrative forward. I help at least when I can come on here and let you guys know hey, yeah, Grand Slam track, it's getting a lot of flack for not paying people on time. World Relays hasn't paid yet. Diamond Leagues haven't paid certain ones. When I can let you guys know the ins and outs of that, I feel like I'm helping. Maybe it's very minimal, but at least the information is getting told because no one's telling it right now. So if that's my legacy, cool. I'm someone that always showed up for the relay. That's for damn sure. I got 7 medals in that, so no one can tell me nothing about running a relay. And that's with Canada. That's not with the USA. We're a powerhouse and we just throw on 4 guys and hey, we make magic. No, it's been the same guys for over a decade, and I started with me in 2013. Obviously we won briefly in 2012, but we got disqualified. And then we were the redeem team the next year. And ever since then, we've been a podium threat. Even got 2 golds. How many Canadian athletes can say that? So that's part of my legacy. Talking about it, I love talking about it, whether it's on my own social media or on trackside. I love talking about the sport, having more people have conversations. I want to be fair, provide my insider knowledge of being an athlete for this long, and really just pass down my knowledge, bro. That's what I want my legacy to be. So, yeah. I asked Alexis on X about potentially adding men, and he said in due time. Yeah, I saw that. I highlighted it earlier. He says women are more marketable and trying to build a sustainable product that can be expanded on. And I have no problem with that. He's not saying no, and whether you believe it or not, like, that remains to be seen. But I believe him, and I think it makes sense to establish the foundation, and then that could be like an exciting thing to add. Like next year, the exciting thing is that he's adding in the track league. This year it was, we're gonna add jumper or long jump, and we're gonna have it in Times Square. That was the new cool thing. Next year is the league. The year after that could be, hey, we're expanding with men now. And then if they start making a profit, things just get grow and grow and grow. And I still think that she could buy a Grand Slam, but hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. But yeah, I think they're on the right track. Sports so Euro-based and World Athletics not putting enough into North America. You're right. Low pay, Europe-centric, World Athletics. Exactly. And what sells in Europe doesn't sell over here in North America. It just doesn't. They're not entertained the same way that they do over there, right? So if you ever want to grow over here, which is what they said they wanted to do leading into the LA Olympics, you have to have a different product, which is why they should be supporting Athlos and Grand Slam. The minute Grand Slam ran into issues with funding, World Athletics should have stepped in and said, okay, we'll partner with you, get favorable terms, sure, do your business stuff, but like, they should have been incentivized to have more American meets. Instead, they're trying to bury them and, throwing dirt on their grave. Even without star power, the amount of hype marketing will draw a lot of people. I hope so. And that's my take. I hope that it's still successful and people care about it and want to watch. You still got the Sierra factor and the fact that, they're winning big prize money, and it's a meet in October. So people who are still starved for wanting more track meets, you get to see some faces that you are fond of, got to see at world championships and stuff like that. So you can at least pull up for that. They got the Shelly-Ann tribute. They're doing marketing too. That's another thing, is like, how often do you see North American athletes on mainstream media outside of the Olympics making the runs like this? Like, you got Shelly-Ann on the press tour now, marketing in it. And, you had Gabby last year on the press tour talking about it and stuff, so like, it's more reasons for people to care about track and field on the professional side, more things for them to tune into, more awareness of our sport, which is ultimately what we need. At the moment, not enough star power in Athlos. It's fine to be present, but for example, like sha'carri hasn't be there yet. She should have that this year at least. Yeah, I could see that. But again, if you're going to have that, put it during the calendar year. When you have it in October, a lot of these people are going to opt out. That could be a big reason why Sydney's not there. I mean, maybe not. Maybe she has her own reasons. Maybe she doesn't like the angle that they're taking, but I can guarantee that part of it is the fact that it's in October. She competes sparingly anyways. And, she showed openness to wanting to compete more when she signed on to Grand Slam. So that was good to see. But to get her to compete in October, that's a stretch. You want to have your stars pulling up. Like, the reason why, actually, I got one more graphic for y'all. The reason why Melissa Jefferson-Wooden pulled out is because she's had such a long season. She's got to do what's best for her. I mean, kudos to her. She's still pulling up to sign autographs and do a meet and greet. But like, she said she wanted to run there for years or for months, all season long. Like, she's been telling my coach that, and my coach didn't want her to, but she's like, oh, I still want to go there. But she did a historic triple. She got a rest. Her body went to new places that very few athletes in history have gone to. So she said, what a year it's been, from an undefeated season in the 100 to etching my name in the history as the first American to win triple gold at the same world championships. Somebody pinch me. After a lot of thought and consideration, my team and I have decided I won't be competing at Athlos meet on October 10th. It wasn't an decision, but it's the easy decision, but it's the right one. I will still be in New York to cheer on all the women that are competing, enjoy the meet, and connect with fans. Thank you for the team at Athlos for your support. I can't wait to celebrate all the athletes that show love to everyone who's been in my corner. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden. So she's got to do what's best for her, Lucius. Inside joke. But if you understand, the main reason for this is because it's in October. If you had it in the middle of the season, she's gone. I promise you that. And again, they're scared of competition, scared of infringing on Diamond League and World Athletics and saying, oh, we have a great relationship with them. But like, you keep pushing it to the end of the season after World Athletics, because it's the prime time of the year to have their meets, you're going to get more stuff like this. And so when you're saying there's not enough star power, this is the reason why. It's because it's October 9th. Make it July 9th or May 9th or whatever. You don't get this. These athletes want to run in America. They want to run locally. They want to support these new grassroots leagues. It's just got to make sense for them long term. End of cast. Thanks for live. Do it now. Have a great day. Take care, man. I'm about to get out of here too. We're about to be on 2 hours. I try to keep at least under 2 hours. I thought this was going to be under an hour, but I got to run anyways and pick up my son. Let's get these last few comments and then we'll get out of here. I feel like vitriol from about Grand Slam has a racial undertone. Like MJ is a phenomenal athlete. He should stay in his lane. He is not a businessman. Do you know how many times Ted Turner failed before? I don't know if I go that far. I mean, maybe, but I just feel like not everything's racist. I just think it's a competitive nature. But who knows? You never know. Say what you want about Fred, but he supports every athlete, even new smaller ones. Most people say so. Yeah, and that's why I'm not bearing him for joining the enhanced games. I'm gonna look at his motives and say like, okay, does he have a point? And that's why I didn't jump out and say like, oh, you should never do that. You know, Fred is a good dude. He's a troll, like sometimes a clown, but he is generally a good dude. Grand Slam track, despite the controversy, the actual product and me coverage was exactly. He got Sid to run. Bro, that's an underrated thing. And I'm going to have a Grand Slam live coming up where I talk about why I support the league so hard and why people think I'm on their payroll. But bro, an underrated thing is he got Sidney McLaughlin-Lavroni to sign on for 4 meets, 8 races, and promote the league. No other league can say they did that. And the reason why? It's because she believed in the vision. She wants to run more. Before this year, you would think Sydney didn't like track and field, that she didn't want to run at all because she competes so sparingly. She'll do like a random meet somewhere in America, trials, maybe a random dime league, and then Worlds or Olympics, and then she's out of here. But she was down. She was going to run them all. So got to give Grand Slam track kudos for that. And yeah, the coverage was great. The product itself was great. You know, it had a clear vision for what they were trying to do. They're competing for high prize money. You know, the racer of the year thing, the challenger versus racers, the point structure. Every athlete competes twice. It was great, man. They did a good job. I don't let this controversy of paying late take away from the good stuff that they did. Your 4x1 legacy is already your 4x1 is already a legacy. Shout out to you. See you in Botswana for the World next year. World Relays. Yeah. I don't see why I wouldn't go. You know, it's always fun to run relays. You know, obviously I have a 4x1 legacy. I'd love running with the guys. At some point, we're going to have work in new people. I don't know when it'll be, but you know, yeah, we want to win as much as we can while we're still active. Really, the monkey money Diamond League is paying, and it has not paid its athletes yet. Yeah, not all of them. Like I've gotten paid from Doha. I think I got Prefontaine. I have to double check that, but some of them have paid, but not all. I think Oslo. I didn't run that many Diamond Leagues anyways, but I think Oslo is still late. But I'm just saying, this isn't just this year. This is historically. I've been running Diamond Leagues for 10 years, and they always pay late. If I get it paid a month later, I'm doing cartwheels. I'm like, whoa, I didn't expect this. It feels like Christmas. I expect at least 2 to 3 months, sometimes even more. But the really good ones like the Brussels, the Zurichs, they typically pay a bit faster, but even that's still like a month and a half minimum. So yeah, all that crazy talk. And yeah, they pay late too. It's just a lot less money. So no one really gives them flack for it. Dooley's fireside chats 1. Yeah, I'm gonna try and do more lives, so stay tuned. Oh, once a week. This is refreshing. You communicate well, knowledgeable, and a well-rounded gain a fan. Appreciate that, September. Appreciate that. That's the point of these. But yeah, I'm gonna do more, and it's great to talk to you guys because then I can really understand what the actual audience and the fans want me to cover, what they care about, and what they're thinking. So then I'm more informed when I go on a trackside, for example, and I could say like, this is what the fans are actually thinking because I'm talking to y'all. Yeah, the Diamond League lots were hating on MJ hard. Yeah, it's just whack, bro. How long does World Athletics take to pay average? Like I said, for me, on average, I would say between 1 to 3 months. That's been average for about 10 years for me. Maybe it's different with the people they pay appearance fees to and give bigger purses to, and they work it differently. Maybe it depends on your agent as well. But I talked to a lot of athletes. I asked them, hey, have you got paid yet? And they'd be like, no, not yet. And they'd be like, oh, I got paid finally. Then I go to my agent and be like, hey, has it come yet? And that's typically like they come around the same time. So I think my experience is the experience of mostly all the athletes. You know, I haven't talked to every single athlete, but I do talk to a lot. As you know, I train with like pretty premier athletes in my group, and I talk to people on the circuit that even though people I don't train with. So yeah, this is pretty much the consensus, a month to 3 months. And they say like, oh, we're waiting on the results of drug testing. That's been their cover for years. And anyways, my dream is for Jam GB in Canada to be on the podium. I won't disclose why. Okay. Jam GB in Canada. No US, huh? Okay. I mean, that could happen, you know, if USA messes up or just don't have a great run. We all have the talent pool to be on that podium, you know. But yeah. Anyways, y'all, this is it. 2:01 right now. So we're going to get out of here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more lives. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to comment down below if you're excited for Athlos and if you're excited for Athlos 2026, the team leagues. Let me know in the comments. Comment what you guys want me to do lives on in the future. Stay tuned for future community posts on YouTube. I'll let you guys know when I'm going to go live so you guys can get a bit of a heads up. Someone said that they like to have the lives after work after 5. So I'll probably do my next live at nighttime when my kids are asleep, probably around like 7:30ish, maybe 8, depending on what the analytics say. Most people are online. But yeah, it was a great live. Hope you guys are watching Athlos, support track and field, pro track and field. It's always a good thing. Thank you all for tuning in. One last comment, I'm out of here. Athletics really lagging behind and bend and paying its stars, I think you meant. The 2 winners of US Open 2025 got 10 million in tennis. I'm going to cover this in a future live. I'm definitely going to talk about pay. Who's most improved athlete? Amy Hunt, Busang, Lavelle, Kumbunji. Ooh, that's a tough one. Melissa went from bronze to historic. So you could say that. Amy Hunt definitely was not a medal contender. Busang went 43.5 and won. Brian Lavelle, that's a big one. Kumbunji, she went from 12.5 to gold. Real quick, I'm gonna say Kumbunji, bro. Did not expect that at all. She went 12.2 to win gold. Yeah, I'm gonna go Kumbunji. Anyways, I'm out of here, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Stay tuned for future lives. Comment down below if you're watching Athlos. And I'll see y'all later. Peace.